Hello. Welcome to the Black Ponder. I'm Neil Trotter. We all know life is hard. It's a constant struggle. And sometimes life can be really hard. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a job that you have to go to that you don't necessarily like, maybe you even hate it, but you have to go to it because you just need the money, right? Or you have some sort of illness going on and the illness itself is difficult, but then you have to deal with some treatment. The treatment itself is difficult to deal with, but you have to take the treatment or go through the treatment to treat the illness that you're going through. Life throws you all types of scenarios where you're forced to do things that you really don't want to do, right? But you have to do them out of necessity. There are cases even where it's a life or death situation and you just have to do it even though you don't want to. So what do you do in this case? Do you walk around with a humbug attitude? Oh, life sucks, and then you die and you just keep walking around in this constant state of melancholy or emo attitude? Or do you stand up, head held up high, looking straight at the task at hand, and you say to yourself, I'm going to do this and I'm going to find some purpose in this. I'm going to find some meaning behind this. Well, the major Hindu text, the Bhagavad Gita, talks about why you should do the latter case. Let me share it with you. In the Bhagavad Gita, you have two characters, the legendary prince / warrior, Arjuna, and his comrade in arms, Krishna. And they're about to go to war. And right before the war starts, on either side, they see family, they see friends, they see mentors, they see role models, they see people who they love, and they see that they're going to have to kill those people in war. And Arjuna breaks down to Krishna. He just has an emotional breakdown, and he tells Krishna, look, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I can't go out in the battlefield and kill these people that I love. Just can't do it. I'm not going to fight. Just let them kill me. There's no way I can be a part of this. Now, Krishna actually is the incarnation of Vishnu. And Vishnu is one of the three aspects of God in the Hindu religion. So Krishna opens up his divine wisdom to Arjuna. And he tells Arjuna, no, we're going to have to do this. And here's why. Let's go to quote number 1. Prepare for war with peace in thy soul. Be in peace in pleasure and pain, in gain and in loss, in victory or in the loss of a battle. In this peace there is no sin. This is the wisdom of Sankhya, the vision of the eternal. Hear now the wisdom of yoga, path of the eternal and freedom from bondage. No step is lost on this path, and no dangers are found, and even a little progress is freedom from fear. Set thy heart upon thy work, but never on its reward. Work not for a reward, but never cease to do thy work. Do thy work in the peace of yoga, and, free from selfish desires, be not moved in success or in failure. Yoga is evenness of mind, a peace that is ever the same. Work done for a reward is much lower than work done in the yoga of wisdom. Seek salvation in the wisdom of reason. How poor are those who work for a reward. In this wisdom, a man goes beyond what is well done and what is not well done. Go thou therefore to wisdom. Yoga is wisdom in work. So Krishna tells Arjuna it's time to focus on yoga. Now when we're talking about yoga, we're not particularly talking about the westernized version of yoga that's really popular in urban cities, where you go to a yoga studio and you got people in tight yoga pants and they got their mats out and they're doing all the breathing exercises and their stretches, and there's a really sexy or hot yoga instructor. We're not talking about that yoga particularly. In the Hindu tradition, yoga is a very broad context. That means a lot of different things. But in the Bhagavad Gita, we're specifically talking about karma yoga. Karma yoga is the discipline of action. It's not about focusing on the end result. It's about focusing on the work that needs to be done to get to that end result, whatever that end result may be. This is where wisdom comes from, is what Krishna is saying. This is where truth comes from. We go now to our second quote. Not by refraining from action does man attain freedom from action. Not by mere renunciation does he attain supreme perfection. For not even for a moment can a man be without action. Helplessly are all driven to action by the forces born of nature. He who withdraws himself from actions, but ponders on their pleasures in his heart, he is under a delusion and is a false follower of the path. But great is a man who, free from attachments, and with a mind ruling its powers in harmony, works on the path of karma yoga, the path of consecrated action. Action is greater than inaction. Perform therefore thy task in life. Even the life of the body could not be if there were no action. So remember, Arjuna breaks down. He tells Krishna, I'm just not gonna fight. I'm gonna just sit here and lay down my arms, and if I get killed, then I get killed. But I'm not gonna do this. But Krishna is saying, hey, you can't escape this. You laying down your arms, that in itself is an action. But the thing is an action without wisdom. You're not gonna find any truth in doing that. Krishna is saying acting is greater than not acting, because when you act, what you are doing is you're partaking in the process of your duty. Through the very performance of the task, you're going to find some meaning, you're going to find some purpose. But by just sitting and doing nothing, you're not going to find any purpose or find any meaning. The end result is going to be the end result, no matter what you do. The point is what you do. Time for the third quote. The man who is in his work finds silence, and who sees that silence is work. This man in truth sees the light, and in all his works finds peace. He who undertakings are free from anxious desire and fanciful thought, whose work is made pure in the fire of wisdom, he is called wise by those who see. In whatever work he does, such a man in truth has peace. He expects nothing, he relies on nothing, and ever has fullness of joy. He has no vain hopes. He is the master of his soul. He surrenders all he has. Only his body works. He is free from sin. He is glad with whatever God gives him, and he has risen beyond the two contraries here, below. He is without jealousy, and in success or in failure, he is one. His works bind him not. He has attained liberation. He is free from all bonds. His mind has found peace and wisdom, and his work is a holy sacrifice. The work of such a man is pure. A common interview question that's asked to great people, I see it a lot, is, how do you define success? What does success mean to you? And indeed, success can be a hard thing to define if you're looking for it in the wrong places. We think somebody's successful, yet in reality, they're not really happy. They're going through a lot of emotional anguish, or stuff's going on that we don't know behind the scenes. And Krishna is saying it has to do with this idea that success is not about the end result. It's not about the reward. Success comes from how you get to that reward or that end result, whatever that end result is. Success is the action of getting to that end, right? The old saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. This is what Krishna is talking about. Partake in the journey. Participate fully and completely in that journey. Don't ignore the journey or downplay the journey, because that's the important part. You oftentimes see people and they accomplish all these things, but at the end they're like, oh, this is so weird. I still feel unfulfilled. And then they're in the state of angst. They're like, I've done so much. I've won all these rewards. I've made all this money. I'm in these, I have this nice family. I've got all these acquisitions, but I still feel empty. I don't understand. The problem is you're focusing too heavily on what you got from the journey rather than focusing on the actual journey itself. Because there is nothing like wisdom which can make us pure on this earth. The man who lives in self-harmony finds his truth in his soul. He who has faith has wisdom, who lives in self-harmony, whose faith is his life, and he who finds wisdom soon finds the peace supreme. But he who has no faith and no wisdom, and whose soul is in doubt, is lost. For neither this world, nor the world to come, nor joy is ever for the man who doubts. He who makes pure his works by yoga, who watches over his soul, and who by wisdom destroys his doubts, is free from the bondage of selfish work. Kill therefore with the sword of wisdom the doubt born of ignorance that lies in thy heart. Be one in self-harmony, in yoga, and arise, great warrior, arise. Krishna is talking about having faith in wisdom. He's talking about having faith that you can find wisdom in the action, in performing the duty. See, Arjuna is really upset about having to fight and ultimately kill his loved ones. He's really caught up in that end result. But Krishna is saying that not only is that going to happen regardless, but really, you don't know for certain how things are going to completely play out in the end, or how you're going to feel about those things completely at the end. There's no way of getting wisdom from that future event because it hasn't happened yet. You're determining what you're doing now off of what's going to happen in the future, which you don't really know how that's even going to play out. You're trying to abstract wisdom from an event that hasn't happened yet. So rather than do that, try and find the wisdom while you perform your duty. It may be a horrible experience that you're going to have to go through, but either way it goes, you're going to have to go through it anyway. The only wisdom you can get is through the present, through what you're doing now. As you perform your duty, as you perform your action, partake in that wisdom. Experience the situation. Understand what it means. And as you gain that knowledge and you finally reach the end result, you can function better because you have that wisdom that you obtain from the experience that you went through. Truth lies in the performance of the action because you can really only get wisdom in the present tense. The future hasn't happened yet, so you can't really focus on that. That's not a source of truth. That's not a source of wisdom. You can only focus on the end result, really, when you get there. Here's a fourth quote I will share with you. Because thou art in the bondage of karma, of the forces of thine own past life, and that which thou in thy delusion with a good will dost not want to do, unwillingly thou shalt have to do. Hinduism has a deterministic view of the world where fate and destiny are in play. The things that you experience are determined by karma. So these things are going to play out regardless of whether you want to do them or not. And that's really the only thing you have control over, the wanting to do it or the not wanting to do it. Either way, it's going to happen. But Krishna is saying the wanting of doing it, the willingness to perform that action in a way that's open to wisdom, that's open to truth, this is the best way that's going to serve you. So think about that the next time you have to do something that may not be very pleasant, whether it's the job that you dislike, right? But you need to get that money, and the only thing that's keeping you going is like, as long as I get that paycheck at the end, that's all I care about, you know? That's all I want is that paycheck. Give me that paycheck. This job sucks. I hate my job. I just need that paycheck. Should you really be living your life like that? Think instead, well, I'm gonna have to do this regardless, so maybe I can pay more attention to what it is I'm actually doing. Maybe the people around me are interesting, or maybe not. Maybe in some way I can help somebody out by talking to them. Maybe the job sucks because it's not being done very efficiently. Maybe I've noticed that, and maybe I can offer some suggestions on how to do that. Or maybe I can move up into the company and implement some of those ideas so this job doesn't suck as much. And that way you're finding truth in what you're doing. You're seeking wisdom while you're performing the action. And that's where truth comes from. Life is hard. It's a constant struggle. But that doesn't mean it's meaningless. That doesn't mean life doesn't have purpose. And that doesn't mean you can't find fulfillment in the parts of life that aren't pleasant. Because you can. And the Bhagavad Gita talks about this. I would encourage you, if you want to understand some concepts of Hinduism, check this book out. It's one of the fundamental texts of Hinduism. It's not that long. And you might learn something. Well, this is the Black Ponderer. I'm Neil Trotter. Tune in next time for more philosophical thought.